It is January here in the high desert, and it is snowing. It is not a ton of snow, obviously, but it is a respectable Albuquerque amount of snow. So what I've got here is my hothouse that I use to grow veggies over the colder months. And what I like to do whenever I know it's going to be below freezing is I'll top it with this rug that we got at a thrift store somewhere. As you can see, it's pretty ratty, but it's durable, keeps the heat in. And so this summer I knew I wanted to build this, and I knew I wanted to use as many recycled or reused materials as possible. And my buddy was throwing out this old patio door, and so I took it off his hands. I brought it home and cut the ends off of it because I wanted to have as high a ratio as possible of window to frame to let sunlight in. And then I just kind of replaced the little guard panels, whatever you want to call those, back on the ends of it, left a doorknob on there, and then used this as the kind of dimensional foundation of the whole hothouse, and then attached it to that frame using some hinges. Got 4 of those on there, and got a kind of convenient little sliding window there I might use in the spring. And so I prop it up every morning with this 2x6 that I had just left over from materials. It's a pretty heavy door, and it really wedges in there and keeps it pretty securely open all day long, even as windy as it gets out in the desert. Now, I bought a little thermometer to keep in here just so I could kind of keep tabs on how effective it is. And it's about 28 degrees out here. It's been 28 degrees all night. And as you can see, it's a little above 30 already. So it's doing its job, and it's keeping the plants above freezing. I've got my dormant fig tree here, which I'll plant before winter is over somewhere in the yard. And I'm also keeping some mint. My formerly Amish grandma in Pennsylvania always keeps this mint growing wild in her ditch, and I took some shoots of that home the last time I went to Pennsylvania to visit, and so I've been propagating that. I've got some little spinach seedlings growing here, and they're definitely way too bunched up. This is something I regret because this was a total experiment. I didn't know if it would work, and so I've got these chards over here next to it. The spacing is terrible. I get that. And I've got in the back here, the foil material you see is actually a dog food bag. We buy the biggest ones possible, the 45 pounders, and I collected a couple of them. I wish I had thought in advance to collect even more, but instead I used stupidly this old plastic tarp we use for painting, and what's bad about that is that the paint is starting to flake off, which is awful, and kind of has me worried that the soil is going to leach some of those chemicals or something. So that was a bad idea too. I might fix that. And in the meantime though, I'm going to keep using it and keep watering it using this good old-fashioned down-home Folgers plastic tin with holes drilled in it. If you're fancy, you can use a watering can, but I'm not. I've got this. So this is how I water it. The shed that's behind this collects a pretty good amount of runoff from rain and snow, so this is mostly rain and snow water, and I just use that a couple of times every week, make sure it's keeping nice and moist in there. And then to help keep it insulated, I had this old hose that came with the house, and I didn't have any use for it. It actually didn't really work. It's too old and kind of dry rotted, so I cut it open in half and I sort of spread it out on the frame, stapled it in, and I cut some notches out there in the back, so you can see, to make room for those hinges and keep it as airtight as possible. And now the windows here that I made, this is actually that kind of liner that you put on your shelves to keep them from getting grimy and to keep things in place. And so I cut some strips off that. It's not exactly 2-pane airtight, but it kind of replicates having a double pane window. So it's doing a fairly good job of keeping insulated, even though you can see it's not perfectly constructed here. And there's a phantom soccer ball that got kicked over by my dog, who loves playing soccer with me. And every time I'm out here, she thinks that I'm out here specifically to play with her. So anyway, here we have it. This is my hothouse, and this is what it looks like closed in the middle of a snowy day in Albuquerque. And here's more Mabel playing soccer for your viewing enjoyment. So there's definitely some things that I regret about it, the way that I constructed it, some things I would do differently, some things I would try and fix, maybe over the summer, especially that paint coated tarp. Try and collect some more dog food bags. What I like about those is they have foil, and so they're kind of reflective. So, all right, well, as you can see, this is still doing its job, and I'll probably make some adjustments to it over the warmer months. It's not quite perfect, but for now it's doing what I needed to do, so it's been a successful experiment. Anyway, I hope you all make this for yourself at home and start growing some stuff during the cold, snowy months wherever you live. Thanks for watching.